Hey guys, what's up? So we have a new update on Advanced Server featuring Lylia and Wanwan. First on our list is Wanwan, and it's another buff. The developer said now that she lost her CC removal skill, it's time to give her some range. Basic attack and ultimate range are increased by this much. What do you think, Wanwan players? She traded her CC removal skill for higher damage and longer range. Is it a fair trade? Next is the buff on Lylia. The developer said the last patch didn't meet their expectations, so they're adding a new feature. After upgrading the Gloom 5 times, she will gain 1 stack on her second skill when it hits an enemy hero. That's a free stack as long as you hit a hero, and it's pretty spammable. Remember, you have to make the Gloom explode 5 times to trigger this effect. And it also works on the Lord and Turtle. It's good because you can easily zone the enemy when taking those objectives. Minions and jungle creeps cannot trigger the effect. And since this is spammable, putting Ice Queen Wand will definitely make her annoying. Here she is with a normal cooldown. Finally, some good news for Lylia mains after the hard nerf she received last update. So is this good enough or a bit too much? What can you say, Lylia players? Next, we have the revamp on Selena. I tested her out earlier, but her skills were not ready yet. As you can see, it's not working. Maybe we can try it out in a few days. Next is Dyrroth. The developer said his last adjustment were too strong, so they're toning it down. First skill will have a longer cooldown on all levels. Meanwhile, his second skill will have lower damage and longer cooldown as well. The armor reduction is weakened in the early game, but it can reach 80% at late game. And they also removed the slow effect on his ultimate. It seems they're killing his early game power spike. Next on the list is Masha. She has a new passive where it converts 1 physical defense into 0.25 physical attack. So if she gets 100 defense, it will be converted to 25 physical attack. Another adjustment is the defense buff when losing HP bars. They removed it and only retained the healing received stat. First skill is also adjusted, but with a lower attack speed, movement speed, cooldown, and heal effect. And her ultimate is adjusted as well, with lower damage and weaker slow effect. Remember, they're still testing this one, so expect more changes in the future. Next is Floryn. The developers heard your feedback and now they're keeping the healing reduction immunity on her ultimate. As you can see, it can still remove the life drain effect, but as expected, she will get nerfed. The heal on her ultimate is weaker and the life drain immunity duration is shorter by 1 second. Her first skill will have less damage, weaker healing effect, and they're removing the missing HP heal. That's gonna hurt, but with the way she's banned right now, maybe it's just fair. Next is the buff on Zhong. His passive skill now has a higher damage from 2% to now 2.5% of the target's missing HP. But in return, they had to add 1 second of cooldown to his second skill. The developer said they did this to improve his early game. Next is the buff on Cylops. His first skill will have a -1 second cooldown. The mana requirement is also lowered in the early levels. Meanwhile, his second gets a plus 20% movement boost at the start of the skill. Next is the buff on Popol and Kupa. The developer said they want this duo to be junglers, so they're increasing Kupa's damage against jungle creeps from 130 to now 150% extra jungle damage. Are you ready for core Kupa? Next is the buff on Mathilda's second skill. Its cooldown is now shorter by 1 second at late game. Remember, she still has the new ultimate that allows her to target where she'll land. Next is the adjustment on Vexana. First skill cooldown is now longer by 3 seconds. But in return, her second skill gets a shorter cooldown and lower mana cost. They said it's a way to improve her early and mid-game damage. More chance to spam her second skill, while first skill takes the hit. Next is Kadita. They're reverting some of the nerfs on her ultimate last week. Compared to official server, it's still a nerf, but not as high as before. Meanwhile, her first skill will get a -50 base damage on all levels. Next is the adjustment on Ixia. Her ultimate will get a longer cooldown and removing the attack speed boost during her ultimate state. Based on the developers, it's still a buff if we compare it to official server. Upon checking, it seems they're right because she gets to keep the feature where her passive and basic attack animation can overlap during her ultimate. And remember, she also has a longer ultimate range on advanced server. Next are more changes to the Revamped Lolita. Lower HP stats, which is just fine because of her new passive. And her ultimate now has a lower damage, longer cooldown, and a slightly improved slow effect. Next is the nerf on Angela. The heal on her first skill will have a lower magic scaling. I guess it's because of the new item, Flask of the Oasis. Next is the nerf on Valentina. Her first skill will have a lower base damage and magic scaling. And last one is the nerf on Eve. The extra damage feature on her first skill is removed when hitting minions. It now only works on heroes and jungle creeps. Hasn't she had enough? Next are the item adjustments. Warrior Boots will now grant physical defense when the owner receives physical damage. Previously, it only activates by basic attack. Now, both skills and basic attack can trigger the effect. This is an indirect nerf to skill-based heroes with physical damage like Fanny and Lancelot. Next is the new item, Flask of the Oasis. It's now easier to trigger the shield effect from 30 to now 35%. But in exchange, the amount of shield is reduced by 500 points. Next are the power and rack potions. Power gets more lifesteal, while rack now has lower resilience. Last one is the battlefield experience adjustments. The developer said the last experience adjustment was fine, but some roles were hit hard. To fix this, they will revert some of the experience numbers to make it similar before. And they're increasing the experience on jungle buff creeps by 1 to 2%. And that's it for our weekly advanced server update. So what can you say about the changes on Lylia? How about Wanwan's buff? Share your thoughts in the comment section. That's all for this video. Stay safe and thank you for watching.